Hey guys, Dan the Man with Ralston Acres Christmas Tree Farm. You want to know a little more about what equipment you're going to need for Christmas tree farming? Well, stay tuned. We'll get right into it. Okay, you heard me talk a little bit probably about an auger, something we can put behind the tractor to save you from having the post hole diggers. You know how the motion goes with them. That could really be rough on some shoulders, but this auger right here hooks on the back of a bigger tractor. We've got a 70 horse tractor, but you don't have to have one that big for this auger to function well on it. They do make some for the small 25 horse tractors as well. And then I'm going to show you an auger a little bit later that you might want to use that is just basically a hand auger. You don't even have to have a power takeoff or a tractor to use that. But this is what we started with. We used to use these for building fence, post hole diggers. They were basically post hole diggers is really what they were. But this auger here is about a 12-inch diameter auger right here, auger bit. And I really don't like one quite that big unless you're going to be planting the 3 trade gallon pots. The bigger pots, these do real well on. The smaller augers do better for the small 1 gallon pots. But I wanted you to see this. These right here, you can find, used ones around where people not doing any more post hole digging, but this will be something you might want to consider at some point in your planting. Okay, we're going to take a look at the Hurricane spreader that's attached to the back of our little workhorse here, the 25 horse tractor. And this right here, it's an old one. This thing right here is probably 35 or 40 years old or better. But basically it is a place where, a piece of equipment where we can spread fertilize. I don't know if you can see everything about it, but it's got sort of a conical shape. We put your fertilizer in the top and it is spread from the fans here at the bottom. And it does a pretty good job, I think, of spreading fertilizer throughout the farm. We just go up and down a couple of rows and it will spread it about 10 feet on each side. So that is one other piece of equipment. Again, not needed at the very beginning, but I'd say within the next year, you're probably going to be looking at putting some out other than just putting it out by hand. This other piece of equipment, which I'll look at right here, this is a tiller. Let me back up over here and see if I hope I'm getting all this. This tiller is also power takeoff driven, and I use it to till up the soil after we've taken the old trees out, and we till up the soil a little bit with it. Again, not necessary your first year or two, but it is also something that you might want to consider after you've been in the business a few years and had your first crop harvested. So just thought I'd bring that up, and we'll move on to the next. As we are talking about equipment, I wanted to show you this little tractor here. This is a TZ25DA New Holland. Has the belly mower. We've had this since 2012, I think it is. And this is sort of the workhorse, one of the workhorses, I guess you'd say, of the farm, because it can pull our little tiller in the back. We also can hook it up to a sprayer, or a mister rather, that blows fungicide, insecticide into the trees. And as I pan around here, you see another workhorse, which is our mower. Some folks don't like zero-turn mowers. I do. Some folks like the belly mower. Any of them's fine as long as they get the job done. We happen to have a couple because we're mowing about 15 acres, and that does take some time. But I wanted you to see that this is just some equipment that we use. It's not necessary that you get every piece of equipment all at one time, but I do find that it is handy as we mow or fertilize or till or spray, that you really ought to have some equipment to do that and to help you with. And I'm going to show this one more little piece of equipment. This is a hard one to find. We found it, actually we bought it used. This is what we use to drill our holes for planting our plants, which we'll talk about in another video. But when we use this drill, it speeds things up for us. I will tell you, you don't have to have one of these. You can use a handheld auger. You can use an auger on the back of a tractor. Either one is fine. Just as a matter of fact, I do even have a pair of post hole diggers that we have used before in some tight places. But you don't necessarily have to have that, but it does make it be a little more convenient than the post hole diggers. But anyway, I just thought I'd show this to you real quickly, and we'll move on to another part of our video. Well, let me show you a piece of equipment that we use right here. Matter of fact, I used it day before yesterday. You can either use a shovel or you can use a tree devil. This thing can go in the ground. You go back and forth with it, make your little V, put your seedling down in it, make sure you don't J-root. We'll talk about that later, and then use this to cover it up. But we've planted several hundred trees with this thing on our bare root plants. Potted plants, you'll use an auger that, like a post hole driver, or not driver, but digger that drills into the ground. You'll use it probably for most of the varieties that we talked about earlier. But I did want to show you the tree devil. One thing you can tell from the parts of this video that there is some equipment that needs to be considered as you're starting a Christmas tree farm. Remember, you'll start with baby steps with small equipment, maybe a mower and maybe a small tractor. But as you get bigger, the equipment will be very, very handy. But you don't have to get it all at once. That's the good thing. Well, thank you for stopping by. Remember, if you like the content of this video, please subscribe to the button below. It helps me, doesn't cost you a penny. And we'll see you next time on Farming Around the Christmas Tree.